Hey everyone, it's your real estate geek Andrew Finney here. Today we're going to be chatting about FHA loan requirements and specifically those all too important steps of how to get started and what's required before we move on to a video that will be out in about 3 weeks about the FHA loan process. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and give us those thumbs up and subscribe now. To tell us more about the FHA loan requirements is Josh Coomer with Man Mortgage. He's coming on next. Josh, thanks for coming by the office today and telling us more about the FHA loan requirements, especially those all too important critical steps before we get into the FHA loan process.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me down here today, Andrew.
Oh, thanks for
coming. Thanks for joining us, those that are watching out there. So today we're going to talk about FHA loan requirements and what kind of documentation, what kind of information that you're going to need for your loan officer that you're speaking to when trying to move forward with an FHA loan. So, before starting the loan process, be prepared. Mm-hmm. Know what you need, know what they're going to expect, so you have the answers, you have, everything that you need so they could do their job properly. And hopefully it's me. Just saying.
Heck of a good lender, though. Top agent, actually named top agent this year in the whole nation for loan officers after 17 illustrious years in helping thousands of families be able to realize the dream of home ownership. That's just a little blurb, so really proud of you, Josh. But now going back to what you were saying. So what you're describing here with the documentation required before getting started, right? Is essentially the loan pre-application phase.
Correct.
Now, what documents are needed? What should they compile before that?
Right. So the information that a loan officer is going to need, documentation that we're going to need, is going to be the list that I'm going to provide you with right now. So the first thing a loan officer is going to want, obviously, is your full legal name, social security number, date of birth, correct contact information, email information. That's all your personal information, so we could communicate with you and do all that. But besides that, they're going to be looking to obtain a 2-year housing history for you, whether you rent or you own. We need to show on our loan application 2 years of housing. Okay, social security number, already kind of touched on that for you. Name and location of your current employer. So as far as the lender, we're going to want to go back for at least 2 years of employment. And now when I say 2 years of employment, if you were in school prior and now you've been working for the last year, that's okay. But we just need to see, know that you were in school. We have to have a 2-year picture for your employment history. Now, everybody gets paid differently, especially here in Las Vegas with tipped employees, the service industry that we have down here. Self-employed. So getting into that, knowing how much you're making annually, whether it's on a W-2 or monthly salaried, however you're getting paid, know what you're making so you can give the loan officer, while you're speaking to him, accurate information. Because he's going to use that information to come up with your pre-approval amount. Then he's going to ask for the documentation to validate. And if I say, okay, you qualify for $300, but after your documentation it's $250,000, you're going to be upset, because you started looking in the 300 range, and now I just cut your feet, and that's not a fun place to be. So be as accurate as possible with that information. All pertinent information on any open loans that you have. If you purchased any new cars, any new credit cards that have opened, anything like that may or may not show up on your credit report, please let us know, because it will come up eventually, and it can bite you in the behind if it comes up later in the process than in the beginning. So give us as much as
I've actually seen that. I'm glad that you brought that up. I've actually seen that, and it was a very innocent mistake recently with a family that I had worked with. And what they had done is they hadn't told us about a non-payment on a mortgage, and it wasn't their fault. Wells Fargo, I guess I shouldn't mention names, but Wells Fargo had made a mistake whenever he went in to pay a bill, and they applied the money to the wrong area. So it was supposed to be applied to a different bill, actually his mortgage, and they made a mistake, and because of that mistake, it got reported on the credit report as a delinquent, and in fact it wasn't. But we had to spend 3 to 4 days trying to get that situation rectified, which delayed our closing actually 3 to 4 days, because we had to get that response back from Wells Fargo saying, yes, we made that mistake, it has since been corrected, and we've sent it to the credit bureaus to go ahead and update. So that's really important to know, and not to pick on Wells Fargo, because really anyone can make that mistake, and it's just something that even that small of a detail, let us know, because if we know about it ahead of time, then we can address it right away and it won't stall your closing.
Absolutely, and that's a great point.
Because if those closings do get stalled,
and I do also want to point out something.
Sure.
Now you said we were delayed 4 days on that.
Yes.
The only reason it was only 4 days is because of the team that was working on that.
That's a good point.
It's a huge point because typically it's a 30 to 60 day process
Really?
to have your credit updated properly. Yes.
I guess I just get so used to working with the top agent in the mortgage industry, and I just don't know any better. I've gotten spoiled, and so have the families that we've worked with a great team.
Yeah,
because
I
you
just
do
don't
have
I
a
don't want
great
to give the
team.
misconception of it could happen real fast, so things
Okay.
don't matter. So I just wanted to be clear on that. You know,
Well, thank you.
We were all hands on deck to get that done, and in the timely manner that we did.
Well,
It was an uphill battle the whole way.
Absolutely, and I certainly appreciate you guys' dedication on it. So that's what brings up a good point. So if you're not here in Nevada or California, you don't have the opportunity to work with Josh, just make sure whomever your loan officer is going to treat you as number one, because you deserve the best.
Absolutely.
Terrific.
And you deserve great service. And what Josh and I are doing with these videos is essentially attempting to raise that bar for real estate
Absolutely.
consultants and loan officers to increase the services offered to you.
Absolutely.
And if I'm geeking out a little bit too much, my apologies. It's just I'm really passionate about what I do, and I love it. I love being able to help you, and I know Josh feels the same way. It's just something, real estate and loans don't have to be hard.
Absolutely. That's so true.
It
That
really
is so
doesn't,
true.
and it frustrates the bejesus out of me, Josh. Whenever a family comes to me and they're like, "Oh, Andrew, this real estate agent didn't tell us about buyer closing costs. Oh, this loan officer told us we were approved, but they didn't ask for my income, assets, and they didn't verify my job employment." Then that paper they gave you, you might as well.
It's worthless.
Yeah, you could wipe some things with it, right?
You could, yes.
You could. Okay, so I think I'm done with that rant.
Settle down.
Woosah.
Okay.
All right.
So we got off track. Let's get on to our next point here. So bank statements. We're going to be looking at the most current 2 months of bank statements: checking, savings, 401ks, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Anything that you have, we're going to want to see a 2-month picture of that. So be ready with that information. I talked about the open loans and complete information for other real estate that you may own, whether it's land, single families, apartment building, whatever it may be that you own. We need all that information, whether there's a mortgage on it, how much the taxes, the insurance, if there's a homeowners association on there. So we want a complete payment for that property. Again, while trying to qualify you and figure out the max that you're going to qualify for, having accurate information is going to be huge. Okay. And so, and a product value of your personal property. So, from your vehicles to, any jewelry, anything that you have, all of your assets, everything, have somewhat of a value. Now, some loan officers will never ask you about this, and some will. It's not required by FHA to fill out that part of the loan application. However, it does provide strength to your loan application.
Why?
It's an asset.
Oh,
Assets are good.
Assets are definitely good.
Assets are good.
Okay.
So, and a lot of loan officers will look past that.
Okay.
So I wanted to point that out. So we're going to look for your current check stubs for the most 30 days. So if you're a 40-hour-a-week employee, you work 40 hours every week, and I got a paycheck stub that says 32.
Uh-oh.
That could bring up issues, know. So unless there's an explanation and you were sick, whatever it is, that's all fine. But now if we're very inconsistent with our hours, that could bring up issues, and they may want us to use a worst case again, which could affect your qualifying amount.
Okay.
So I want to be clear on that. We're going to look for W-2s for the past 2 years, as well as tax returns. So the W-2s, any jobs that you've worked, it could be 1, 2, 5, 10. Many people have different jobs that they work.
Yeah, this is true, especially in today's day and age.
Absolutely, and we're going to need all of the W-2s
Okay.
for all jobs that were worked in that tax year.
Okay.
And then get into the tax returns. We're going to want to see a full 2 years of tax returns, personal and business. Sometimes your business is included in your personal, and sometimes you have your K-1s and your 1120s, different kind of business tax returns out there. We will need those as well. Now, like we are June 1st today, in the middle of the year. So for that person that's self-employed, we're also going to look for a year-to-date profit and loss statement to see what your business is doing today. For this year. So that we're not actually going to use that income, but we need to show that your income is increasing from previous years and not decreasing.
And that's for a self-employed man, right?
That is correct for
Okay.
self-employed. Yeah. So those are the basics of what you're going to need. To when you're calling your loan officer, me, about your pre-approval process. These are the questions I'm going to ask, and it's going to go a whole lot smoother if you have the answers and you know what you're talking about, and the qualification is going to be so much smoother, so much nicer in the process. It'll be amazing. You could see the night and day difference
Right.
of the process.
Absolutely, Josh, and I really appreciate you coming by the office and sharing this wonderful information today with them. Because here's the deal. Real estate doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be boring. As you can see, what we're trying to do is elevate the bar, raise the customer service standards so that you get the best service. And if we don't have the personal privilege and opportunity to help you, because you're not in Las Vegas or California, then we want to make sure that you're well armed and well empowered with information of what to expect, how to expect it, and in elevating the service standards, they get the best service possible. Let's make real estate fun. You can see that, hey, I'm a little bit geeky here. The reason is I try to make this process fun because it really can be a lot of fun. Buying a home is exciting.
It is. It really
Getting
is.
a loan and getting able to move on with your life to your next goal is just awesome.
Yes, but I do want to point out one more.
What is it?
It just popped in. It's not on my list. It's
Okay.
not here.
Okay.
But as we're talking about it, I wanted to throw it out there.
Sure.
So, also, if you've had foreclosure, a short sale, a bankruptcy, you have to be clear and specify that. Not all of them will report on the credit report. So when I pull your credit, I may not see that short sale because it's not public record. You did sell a property. It was just for less than full balance. Now, this information will come up in the mortgage process. We do fraud searches. We do all these different searches. We dot our I's, we cross our T's, and we find everything. So and that's very, very important, that we do that so we can continue lending money to you,
Right.
to the folks out there instead of being burnt over. So,
Yeah, that's also a big change since whenever the collapse happened.
absolutely.
And that's the whole reason that the rules have become more stringent. Just because they're more stringent doesn't mean we can't have fun with it and educate you now beforehand so you know what to expect when you're in the process.
Absolutely.
So if they were out of state or here in Las Vegas and they wanted to reach out to you and say, hey, I like Josh. He was a cool guy in the video. I wanted to give him a call and get the lowdown. What should they do?
Absolutely. Give me a call. I don't care what state you're in, where you're from, what questions you have. I'm always available. Man Mortgage does have branches pretty much from central United States all the way to the west. So if you're anywhere on that side, I can get you connected with a great loan officer within the company.
Good to know.
For me personally, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. Give me a call there anytime. I can be reached 702-491-2208. Feel free to visit my website, see who I am, what I'm about, what our company's about. You can visit us at www.joshcoomer.manmortgage.com or simply shoot me an email to say hi, let me know if you have any questions, what's going on with your day. I would love to hear from you. I could be emailed at josh.coomer@manmortgage.com.
Well, thank you so much for coming by, Josh, today and sharing this great information about the FHA loan requirements and what you can expect. As always, if you've enjoyed this real estate geekness with some lender goodness, please go ahead and give us those thumbs up and subscribe now. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy a great day.